When a woman goes months without contacting you, it's natural for your mind to start spinning. You start replaying memories, wondering what you said or did wrong, questioning whether she's thinking about you or if she's moved on. But here's the truth: her silence isn't confusion, it's communication. The absence of effort is effort. The absence of words is a message. When she stops reaching out, stops checking in, and goes completely quiet for months, she's telling you exactly where her interest level lies. It's not about guessing her motives or decoding hidden meanings in her silence. It's about accepting the reality of what she's showing you through her actions, or rather, her inaction. Corey Wayne often says that attraction is revealed through behavior. A woman who values you, who's emotionally invested, will find a reason to stay in touch. She'll make excuses to reach out, even subtly. When she doesn't, when weeks turn into months, you're not a priority in her life right now. Maybe she's exploring something new, maybe she's lost interest, or maybe she's waiting to see how you'll react. Regardless of her reasons, your job isn't to chase clarity, it's to embrace the clarity that's already in front of you. Her silence is a mirror reflecting her emotional state. You don't need to break your self-respect trying to interpret something that's already crystal clear. When someone truly cares, they make an effort, they reach out, they show curiosity about your world. They invest energy into staying connected. Love and attraction are never silent. They're expressive, consistent, and alive. If she's gone dark for months, she's either lost that emotional spark or she's testing your strength. And most men fail that test because they respond with fear. They panic, overthink, and start sending messages that reek of desperation. They tell themselves they're just checking in, but what they're really doing is trying to regain control of something that's already slipping away. That energy repels her even further. A man who values himself never chases silence. He listens to what it says. Silence says she's distant. Silence says she's not emotionally available. Silence says she's no longer investing in the connection. That's not an attack on you. It's just data. It's feedback. The problem is most men don't want to face that feedback because their ego is attached to the outcome. They think if she's not contacting me, something must be wrong with me. But that's not the truth. Her silence says something about her emotional readiness, not your worth. Sometimes people disconnect because they're confused, immature, or unhealed. That's not something you can fix, and trying to fix it only drags you into a cycle of chasing validation. Corey Wayne teaches that masculine energy thrives in certainty, direction, and strength. When she goes months without contact, that's the time to ground yourself in those principles. Don't lose your frame. Don't chase, plead, or try to force communication. You have to understand that her silence isn't punishment, it's protection. It's protecting you from wasting time on someone who isn't matching your energy. It's giving you space to focus on yourself. It's showing you how much you've evolved or how much more you still need to. Because if her absence breaks you, it means your sense of self was still dependent on her presence. Most men think that if they just say the right thing or send the right text, they can fix everything. But attraction doesn't work that way. You can't talk someone into feeling something. You can't convince someone to care. When a woman disappears for months, that means her attraction level dropped below the point of no return, or she's stepping back to see how strong you really are. In either case, chasing her only confirms her doubts. The real test is whether you can stay calm, confident, and detached in the face of uncertainty. That's what separates emotionally strong men from the rest. You need to remember that relationships are never about control, they're about freedom. And freedom means allowing the other person to choose you without pressure. If she's not choosing you right now, let her go. Don't chase what's pulling away. You can't force connection where there's disinterest. If she ever rediscovers her attraction, she'll come back on her own. But that only happens when you stay centered in your masculine power, when you remain focused on your life, your purpose, and your mission. The moment you shift your focus from her silence to your growth, you stop losing and start winning. Silence reveals everything about her, but it also reveals everything about you. How do you respond when someone you care about disappears? Do you spiral into anxiety and self-doubt, or do you take it as a sign to rise higher? Do you waste months waiting for a text, or do you use that time to become a better, stronger, more grounded man? Every moment you spend chasing someone who's gone is a moment you steal from your own evolution. Her silence is not an obstacle, it's a mirror showing you where your emotional weaknesses lie. You can tell a lot about a man by how he handles being ignored. The weak man becomes needy, impulsive, and emotional. He texts, calls, checks her social media, and loses his peace. The strong man remains still. He knows that what's meant for him will never require chasing. He doesn't try to change her mind because he understands that attraction can't be negotiated. It's felt, not forced. Silence is his ally because it separates the genuine from the fake. If she truly had something real with him, she'll eventually feel his absence. If she doesn't, that's his answer, and he moves forward without resentment. You see, when a woman pulls away for months, it's her way of reclaiming space. Maybe she's trying to see if she misses you. Maybe she's testing her independence. Or maybe she's simply lost emotional connection. But regardless of her motive, you have one job. Stay grounded. Don't try to interpret her behavior through a lens of fear. Interpret it through awareness. The truth is that her silence is not rejection, it's information. It's telling you to redirect your energy to stop giving time and emotion to something that's not reciprocated. In Corey Wayne's teachings, the foundation of masculine strength is emotional self-control. That means staying composed when the world doesn't go your way. When she doesn't text, when she doesn't call, when she disappears for months, you don't crumble. You don't let that define your mood, your confidence, or your value. You keep moving forward because you understand that your worth is not determined by her attention. It's determined by how you respond when it's withheld. Her silence might sting, but it's also liberating. It forces you to detach from illusions and face reality. Maybe she was never as emotionally invested as you thought. Maybe you ignored red flags early on. Maybe you made her your priority when she made you an option. This is your chance to learn the lesson that most men avoid, the lesson of emotional independence. When you stop needing her communication to feel complete, you take back your power. That's when silence no longer scares you, it strengthens you. In the end, her months of silence are not about her, they're about you. They reveal how secure, disciplined, and grounded you truly are. They test your ability to stay in your masculine energy without chasing validation. They challenge you to grow beyond attachment and into purpose. The man who masters this becomes unshakable. He no longer needs to be chosen because he's already chosen himself. That's the energy that women can't resist, the calm confidence of a man who knows his worth and refuses to lose himself chasing someone who's gone quiet. So when she goes months without contacting you, don't panic. Don't chase, don't assume, just observe. Understand that silence is an answer. It might not be the one your heart wanted, but it's the one your growth needed. Let her go if she's gone. Trust that the right person won't make you question your value through silence. And most importantly, remember that your peace is priceless. Never trade it for the noise of uncertainty. When a woman disappears for weeks or months without reaching out, most men fall into a trap. They let their emotions control them. They start to overthink, panic, and question their worth. They replay every conversation, every text, and every moment, looking for clues about what went wrong. But this is where Corey Wayne's philosophy separates the strong from the weak. The real power lies not in chasing her or trying to decode her silence, but in mastering your emotions. Emotional control is what defines true masculine energy. It's the difference between reacting from fear and responding from strength. The man who can remain calm in uncertainty always wins, not because he manipulates the situation, but because he refuses to lose control of himself. When she pulls away, you have two choices. You can either let your emotions run the show, or you can stay centered. The first path leads to desperation. You start thinking you need to do something, say something, or fix something to make her come back. You send messages that sound casual, but are filled with hidden neediness. You start checking her social media to see what she's up to. You lose focus on your purpose and start revolving your thoughts around her absence. The moment you do that, you've already lost. Because now she's in control, she's setting the emotional tone, and you're reacting to it. The second path is mastery. You do nothing, you stay calm. You let her silence be her business, not your burden. You keep living, working, training, and growing. That indifference, the ability to remain unaffected, is the ultimate display of strength. Corey Wayne teaches that emotional self-control is magnetic. It draws people in because it's rare. Most men can't stay composed when things don't go their way. They fold under pressure. But the man who stays cool under emotional fire communicates something powerful. He's solid, stable, and centered. That's the kind of energy that women feel safe around, even if they don't admit it. Because deep down, feminine energy craves stability. When she sees that you're not chasing her, not begging for attention, not breaking down because she's silent, she starts to feel something unexpected: respect. And respect is the foundation of attraction. Emotional control doesn't mean pretending not to care. It means caring without losing yourself. It means acknowledging your feelings, but refusing to be ruled by them. You might miss her, think about her, even hope she comes back, but you don't let that dictate your actions. You stay aligned with your purpose. You continue doing what fulfills you. You remind yourself that your life was meaningful long before she entered it, and it remains meaningful even if she's no longer part of it. That mindset shifts the entire dynamic. Instead of trying to prove your value to her, you quietly demonstrate it through your stability and focus. When a man loses his emotional control, he becomes predictable. He reacts impulsively, and that reaction gives her all the power. Women test men emotionally, sometimes consciously, sometimes subconsciously. They want to see if you can handle their distance, their silence, their unpredictability. It's not about cruelty. It's about biology. They're wired to be drawn to strength. When she pulls away and you chase, you fail the test. When she pulls away and you remain calm, you pass. That calmness tells her something no words can. You're not desperate and you're not dependent. You can love her without needing her. That's rare. That's powerful. A man who can't control his emotions becomes a slave to them. He starts acting from fear, fear of loss, fear of rejection, fear of being alone. But every time you act from fear, you weaken your position. You send a message that your happiness depends on her. And the moment she senses that, she loses attraction. Emotional control is not about being cold or heartless. It's about being emotionally independent. It's about being able to experience connection without losing your center. You can enjoy a relationship, but you never let it define you. You never let another person's actions dictate your peace. The power of indifference lies in self-mastery. It's not that you don't care, it's that you're not controlled by caring. You understand that attraction is voluntary. You can't force someone to want you, and you can't make someone value you by doing more. You only make yourself weaker when you try to. So instead of chasing, you pull back. You let her come to you if she truly wants to. And if she doesn't, you accept that as information, not rejection. That's emotional maturity. That's strength. When she disappears for months, it's a perfect opportunity to practice that strength. Most men think silence is a punishment, but it's actually a gift. It gives you space to regain balance, to focus inward, to build discipline. Use that time to improve yourself physically, mentally, and spiritually. Read more, work harder, train harder, invest in your purpose. The more you pour into yourself, the less you'll depend on anyone else for validation. Eventually, you reach a point where her silence doesn't even bother you anymore because you found something more powerful: peace. Corey Wayne often says the strongest negotiating position is being able to walk away and mean it. That's emotional control in action. When you can walk away from someone's silence without needing closure, you've already won. You're not playing games, you're standing in your truth. You know that chasing someone who's distant only lowers your value. You know that staying centered keeps your dignity intact. You know that love should be mutual, not one-sided. And you're not afraid to let go of what isn't reciprocated. That's the kind of confidence that makes people return, because they can feel that you're not seeking approval. You're living with purpose. The power of indifference also changes the dynamic when she does come back. If she reaches out after months, your reaction determines everything. A man without control either gets too excited or too bitter. He might instantly respond with enthusiasm or act cold and petty. But the man who's centered stays balanced. He doesn't overreact or overinvest. He listens, stays polite, and lets her prove her intentions through consistent action. That composure shows her that you're not emotionally swayed by her presence or absence. You're steady regardless. That's the kind of power that draws her back with real respect. Emotional control gives you freedom. You stop trying to control others because you've learned to control yourself. You no longer chase people, you attract them through your peace. You no longer need reassurance because your confidence comes from within. You stop needing her to validate your worth because you already know your value. That's when life starts working in your favor. The more you master your emotions, the more magnetic you become. Because people are drawn to those who don't need them but choose them. Indifference doesn't mean arrogance. It means self-respect. It means you can love deeply without losing yourself. It means you can care without clinging. It means you can walk away without resentment. And ironically, that's what makes you even more attractive. Because emotional strength is rare. Most people are ruled by impulse, insecurity, and fear. But the one who stays calm amid uncertainty becomes unforgettable. So when she goes months without contacting you, don't let it shake your peace. Don't give your power away by reacting emotionally. Breathe, accept, and let time reveal what's real. If she comes back, it will be because your calmness made her curious again. If she doesn't, it's because life is redirecting you towards someone who will match your energy. Either way, you win, because emotional control ensures you never lose yourself chasing anyone. The man who can master his emotions masters his life. He doesn't beg for attention, he commands respect through his presence. He doesn't chase what's leaving, he attracts what's meant for him by staying grounded in purpose. When you reach that level of calm, no silence, no distance, and no rejection can shake your confidence. You've transcended the need to control outcomes because you've learned to control yourself. And that is what true power looks like, the quiet, unshakable strength of a man who stays centered, no matter who stays or who leaves. When you stop chasing a woman who's gone silent, something powerful happens. You become scarce. And scarcity creates value. It's a universal truth that applies to everything in life. The less available something is, the more people want it. Corey Wayne teaches that attraction works the same way. When you pull back your energy and focus on yourself, you create a void. That void forces her to feel your absence, to notice what's missing, and to reflect on the connection she once took for granted. Most men make the mistake of filling that void by reaching out, texting, calling, or trying to fix things. But in doing so, they remove the very thing that could have reignited her attraction space. When you stop chasing, you allow her to experience life without your presence. Maybe at first she feels relief. Maybe she tells herself she's fine, that she's over you, that she's moved on. But over time, when your silence remains steady and your energy no longer flows toward her, the contrast starts to hit. She remembers how your presence made her feel the calmness, the confidence, the sense of stability. Women don't miss words, they miss emotions. They miss the feeling of being seen, understood, and valued. When she realizes that those feelings aren't easily replaced, the attraction begins to rebuild, but only because you gave her the chance to feel your absence. The law of scarcity is not about playing games. It's not about pretending you're busy or trying to manipulate her emotions. It's about genuinely living your life, focusing on your purpose, and understanding that your energy is valuable. When you stop giving it away freely, people start to respect it more. If you're constantly available, constantly reaching out, constantly showing her that you're waiting, you become predictable. And predictability kills attraction. Mystery, on the other hand, fuels desire. When she doesn't know what you're thinking, where you stand, or whether you've moved on, curiosity begins to grow. And curiosity is the seed of reattraction. Corey Wayne often says people value what they have to work for. If she's not putting in effort, it's because you've made it too easy for her. When a woman knows that no matter how long she disappears, you'll always be there waiting, she loses the incentive to reach out. But when you pull back completely, when you truly stop chasing, something shifts. She begins to wonder if she's lost you for good. That uncertainty triggers introspection. She starts asking herself, did I make a mistake? Why hasn't he called? Has he moved on? And that's when her ego starts to crumble. Scarcity forces her to face the reality that you're not waiting around. That's to the point where the balance of power begins to shift. When you were chasing, she was in control. She dictated when and how the communication happened. But when you detach, the dynamic reverses. Now she's the one wondering, waiting, and thinking. And ironically, the moment she starts thinking about you, attraction begins to rebuild naturally. You didn't do it through manipulation, you did it by stepping back into your masculine frame. But here's the key: scarcity only works if it's real. You can't pretend to move on while secretly obsessing over her. You can't fake detachment. Women sense energy. They can feel when you're still emotionally attached, even if you're silent. The only way to create genuine scarcity is to truly let go. That means mentally, emotionally, and spiritually releasing her from your expectations. It means accepting that she might never come back and being okay with that. Paradoxically, the moment you reach that state of peace, you become more attractive than ever. Because peace is power. When you're no longer desperate for her attention, you reclaim your energy. You redirect it into your goals, your fitness, your passions, and your mission. You become the kind of man who radiates self-respect, and that's the man who naturally attracts people, women included. The more you grow, the more she begins to feel that energy shift. Even if she doesn't see you, she senses it. Maybe through mutual friends, social media, or simply intuition. She'll feel that you're no longer waiting, and that realization triggers her fear of loss. Fear of loss is one of the most powerful motivators in human psychology. When someone realizes they might lose something valuable, they start to act. But you can't create that fear by chasing it. Only happens through silence and space. You must allow her to experience the emotional consequences of her distance. That's when she begins to replay memories, revisit emotions, and compare every new experience to what she had with you. In that quiet space, her imagination becomes your greatest ally. She starts to idealize you, to remember your best qualities, and to wonder if she made the wrong choice. And all you had to do was stay silent. This doesn't mean you go completely cold or bitter. The law of scarcity is rooted in calm confidence, not anger. You're not punishing her with silence. You're respecting yourself enough not to chase someone who isn't matching your energy. You're letting her come to her own conclusions in her own time. You're trusting that if the connection was real, it will find its way back. And if it doesn't, you'll still be fine because you've already found something more important than her attention, your balance. In today's world, where constant communication is the norm, true silence is powerful. When you don't text, call, or post anything aimed at her, it stands out. It creates contrast. Everyone else is chasing, over-explaining, and seeking validation. You, on the other hand, are focused, composed, and detached. That difference makes you memorable. It shows that you operate from abundance, not scarcity, that you're not afraid to lose anyone because you know your worth, and that energy naturally attracts. Scarcity also teaches you an important lesson about emotional self-sufficiency. The reason most men struggle with no contact is because they tie their identity to a woman's attention. They think her silence means they've lost something, but when you truly embrace the law of scarcity, you realize you've lost nothing. You've simply stopped giving your energy to someone who wasn't reciprocating. That's a gain, not a loss. You're reclaiming time, peace, and mental clarity. You're breaking the habit of chasing what doesn't serve you. Eventually, if she has genuine feelings, she'll circle back. Maybe she'll send a simple message, something like, "Hey, how have you been?" Or, "I was thinking about you." And when she does, it's because she felt your absence, not because you forced it. That's the beauty of scarcity. It works quietly, invisibly, and naturally. But even then, your job isn't to drop everything and welcome her back with open arms. Your job is to maintain your frame, to let her prove her intentions through consistent effort. If she truly values you, she'll show it through her actions, not just words. If she never comes back, that's also fine. Because by the time you've embraced this mindset, you've grown beyond needing her validation. You've evolved into a man who doesn't chase anyone, because you know that what's meant for you won't need to be forced. You understand that every ending is simply a redirection towards something better, and that's what makes you unstoppable: the ability to let go gracefully, to trust the process, and to keep moving forward with self-respect intact. The law of scarcity isn't just about dating, it's about life. The same principle applies to opportunities, friendships, and even success. When you stop trying to control everything and start trusting your value, the right things begin to flow toward you naturally. You attract by becoming, not by chasing. You inspire curiosity by growing silently. You create desire by being rare. And rarity isn't about pretending, it's about truly living a life that's so fulfilling that you don't have time to chase anyone who's uncertain about you. So when she goes months without contacting you, let her. Don't panic. Don't reach out. Don't try to remind her of your worth. Show it through your silence. Let her feel your absence. Let her remember your presence. Let time and distance do what chasing never could. And if she realizes what she lost, she'll come back with a different level of respect. If she doesn't, you still won because you've mastered the art of scarcity. And in doing so, you become the kind of man who no longer needs to chase love. Love now chases you. When a woman disappears for months without reaching out, most men spend that time stuck in confusion, frustration, and emotional pain. They wonder what happened, what went wrong, and whether she'll ever come back. They replay the past, analyze every moment, and torment themselves with what ifs. But Corey Wayne teaches something completely different, something more empowering. Her silence isn't a punishment, it's a gift. It's not rejection, it's redirection. It's life's way of giving you the space to grow, to heal, and to reclaim your focus. When she stops contacting you, the right move isn't to chase after her, it's to move forward with strength, peace, and gratitude for the lesson she just gave you. When someone you care about walks away or goes silent, it can feel like loss. But that loss becomes the soil in which your growth begins. You see, most men tie their sense of identity to how a woman responds to them. When she's warm and affectionate, they feel confident. When she pulls away, they start to doubt themselves. That kind of dependency is emotional slavery. You're giving someone else the power to decide how you feel about yourself. The real transformation happens when you take that power back. When you stop allowing her silence to define your worth, you begin to step into your own masculine strength. That's when you realize that her distance is not the end of your story, it's the beginning of a new chapter in your evolution. Moving on without bitterness means choosing peace over pride. It means understanding that everyone who enters your life comes with a purpose, some to stay, others to teach. Maybe she was meant to show you how much you were giving away, how much you needed validation, or how much you still had to grow emotionally. Instead of resenting her for leaving, thank her silently for showing you what needed to change. Growth rarely comes from comfort. It comes from pain, disappointment, and moments of solitude that force you to face yourself. The months of no contact are not empty, they're sacred. They're an invitation to rediscover your strength, your purpose, and your ability to stand on your own 2 feet. When you let go of bitterness, you reclaim your energy. Bitterness keeps you trapped in the past, constantly reliving what you wish had gone differently. But acceptance frees you. Acceptance doesn't mean you stop caring, it means you stop suffering. It means you stop fighting reality and start flowing with it. If she left, she left. If she's silent, she's silent. You can't control her choices, but you can control how you respond. And your response determines your growth. Corey Wayne's teachings revolve around self-reliance and emotional strength. A man who is truly grounded doesn't need anyone to validate him. He doesn't chase closure because he understands that closure comes from within. The truth is, most people leave because the connection no longer aligns with where they are emotionally or spiritually. That's not a reflection of your failure, it's a reflection of life's timing. Sometimes 2 people meet at the wrong moment. Sometimes one person still has lessons to learn alone. And sometimes you were simply meant to help each other grow for a short season. When you see her silence through that lens, it becomes easier to release it with grace. You begin to realize that her absence created the space for something greater, your own transformation. In Corey Wayne's world, your purpose always comes first. A woman's presence should complement your mission, not become your mission. When she disappears, it's an opportunity to refocus. Ask yourself, what have I been neglecting? Maybe you stopped chasing your goals because you were too focused on her. Maybe you lost discipline, drive, or clarity. Use this time to rebuild that channel. Every ounce of pain into progress. Every moment you spend thinking about her could be spent improving yourself mentally, physically, financially, and spiritually. That's how you turn heartbreak into fuel. That's how you rise stronger than before. There's a quiet kind of confidence that comes from thriving alone. When you can enjoy your solitude, when you can go days or weeks without needing anyone to fill your silence, you become powerful. You stop looking for happiness in other people because you've found it within. And ironically, that's when you become more magnetic than ever. The man who doesn't chase is always the one who gets chased. But that doesn't happen through pretending it happens, through genuine inner peace. When you move on without bitterness, without resentment, and without trying to prove a point, you radiate calm strength. That's what draws people back or attracts new ones who match your new vibration. Forgiveness plays a huge role in this process. Forgiving her doesn't mean she was right or that what happened was fair. It means you're choosing not to let it poison you. Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It only hurts you. When you forgive, you free yourself. You create emotional space for better experiences. And that forgiveness must also extend to yourself. Maybe you made mistakes. Maybe you chased too much, cared too quickly, or lost your frame. That's okay. Every man who grows has stumbled before. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. The more you learn from your mistakes, the less likely you are to repeat them. Moving on without bitterness is also about perspective. Instead of seeing her silence as rejection, see it as divine protection. If she wasn't meant for you, her absence is saving you from wasting years in the wrong relationship. Sometimes the universe removes people quietly because it heard conversations you didn't. It saw truths you couldn't. You may not understand it now, but in time, you'll look back and realize that losing her was the best thing that ever happened to you. Because it forced you to become the man you were always meant to be. Corey Wayne's message always circles back to this truth. The goal isn't to get her back. The goal is to get yourself back. The confident, focused, masculine man who doesn't chase validation. The man who leads his life with purpose and calm certainty. That version of you is far more attractive than the one who begs for attention. And when you embody that, you don't need to chase women. They naturally come into your life because your energy commands respect. That's the beauty of letting go. You don't lose anything. You simply make room for something better. Even if she eventually returns, you'll notice something different. You'll no longer feel that anxious need to prove yourself. You'll approach the situation from abundance, not scarcity. You'll know that whether she stays or leaves again, you'll be fine. Because your peace no longer depends on her presence. That's emotional mastery. That's what every man should aim for, to be so secure within himself that no one's silence can shake his foundation. Life has a way of rewarding those who learn to let go with grace. When you move on without bitterness, you create space for new energy to flow in. New people, new opportunities, new experiences, all waiting on the other side of letting go. And the irony is, when you finally stop caring whether she comes back or not, that's often when she does. Not because of manipulation, but because your calm, detached energy becomes irresistible. But by then, it doesn't even matter because you've already won. You've mastered yourself. Her silence was never meant to break you. It was meant to build you. It was meant to strip away your dependence, your fear, and your emotional weakness. It was meant to show you that the person you were before her is still inside you, stronger and wiser. So instead of waiting for her to return, thank her silently for giving you the chance to grow. Use her absence as motivation to elevate your life in every possible way. Become so focused, disciplined, and fulfilled that you no longer need to think about what's missing. That's when you've truly moved on, when peace replaces pain, purpose replaces longing, and growth replaces regret. So when she goes months without contacting you, understand that the universe is giving you a powerful message. It's time to evolve. Don't chase, don't resent, don't wait. Take that silence and use it as a mirror. Let it show you where your insecurities lie and then heal them. Let it show you what you were neglecting and then rebuild it. Let it remind you that no one completes you, you complete yourself. Because once you master that truth, no loss can ever break you again. You become untouchable, not because you don't feel, but because you've learned how to turn pain into power. And that's the kind of strength that no silence, no distance, and no heartbreak can ever take away.